In this video, I'd like to talk to you about mental models in negotiations. So what are mental models? In a prior video, we talked about perception, and what that is how you, once again, perceive information or situations that you come in contact with. And then in a separate video from that, we talked about cognitive frames. That is a framework, once again, for how we understand situations, right? Mental models are more like a predisposition, right? It's a disposition that you bring to the situation. And in terms of negotiations, it's a predisposition that you bring to the actual negotiation process, right? So it affects strongly how we understand the social and physical systems that we interact with, right? So it's very strongly, once again, to the attitude, personality, predisposition that we bring to the negotiation scenario. Okay, so you combine mental models with cognitive frames, and that oftentimes is the driving force behind the orientation, overall orientation that you bring to the strategy, or the orientation that you use as part of carrying out your strategic plan. Okay, so with that being said, I think it's good that I identify some mental models. There are 5 commonly recognized mental models. Research potentially identifies others, but these are commonly recognized models that you bring to the negotiation process. The first one is a haggling model. It's a competitive based model, primarily focused on a distributive type interest or negotiation. It's where you're competing for the interest at stake, and that is your objective, to grab more value in the situation. And you come with that disposition in place. Competitive, distributive, grab more value, right? In contrast to that would be a more cost-benefit analysis, a decision-making, as they say, mental model. And that's more integrative in nature. That is the evaluating the plus and minuses of the situation to ultimately try and create the most value possible in the negotiation for either or both parties involved. So as you can see, that will be highly characteristic of integrative type negotiations where you have a great deal of collaboration. Okay. The next is a game playing model, and once again, this is more of a competitive type model. It's basically where you're trying to beat the other side. You see it as a game. You're trying to extract more value in the situation. You're trying to exert power or influence over the other side. These are all common scenarios or types of mental dispositions that you take on in this type, if you have this type of mental model coming into the negotiation, right? So you follow a more game playing model. A partnership model is more focused on the nature of the relationships at stake, people's feelings, the emotions at stake, and ultimately with the objective of probably maintaining some form of long-term relationship with the other party to the negotiation. So that being said, once again, you're more nurturing. It tends to have, be more avoiding or accommodating in terms of the approaches you bring as a result of the mental model. And then the last one is problem solving. Okay, this is a very characterized by a very collaborative, sometimes accommodating approach to the scenario, where you're focused on, the conflict or the misunderstanding or the dispute or the positions at stake, and you're trying to work again with the other side for some level of mutuality, right? So it's a very common interest based approach, once again, where you're focused again on the underlying issue at stake in the negotiation. So all of these are commonly recognized mental models that, once again, together with cognitive frames, go into how you understand, how you interact with, and how you perceive the external world or environment, and ultimately your understanding of that environment as a result of the mental model you bring, the cognitive frame that you employ as far as how you interact with information, and then the perceptions that you develop as a result of your contact with this information.